What if the person that you thought you were was a lie? What if your memories, your feelings, your entire identity belonged to somebody else? And what if the people who built you like a machine, were doing it for the darkest reasons you can imagine? This is CrossCode, and the more you play it, the more it quietly builds something you don't see coming until it hits you like a sack of bricks. You wake up. You don't know who you are. You can barely say a single word, and someone is watching you from the other side of a screen telling you everything is going to be okay. It is not going to be okay. CrossCode is a 2018 indie action RPG from Radical Fish. On the surface, it looks like one thing, a love letter to retro RPGs wrapped inside a fictional MMORPG called CrossWorlds, set on an actual physical moon called Shadow. You fight, you solve puzzles, you make friends, you crawl through dungeons. I picked this up because of its charming nod to games like Secret of Mana. It's colorful, it's cozy, it has a sweet charm to it that intentionally references nostalgic game situations. It is deliberately making you feel safe. This is the first half of CrossCode's story, with spoilers, because this game does something I genuinely have not seen in video games in a long time. It makes me actually care about these characters. It's a masterclass on how to make you fall in love with a character and tear the ground completely out from under them. And you, the player, take the entire ride with them. All the best RPGs start by letting you play as an overpowered character to showcase the true power you'll soon wield. And CrossCode is no different. The game opens, and I was not playing as the person on the cover art. I was playing as someone named Shizuka. Fast, aggressive, silent in a fed-up kind of way. As I started to push forward, I realized how emotionally charged the conversation was between Shizuka and somebody off-screen. After seeing what true power was, it was over as fast as it started. I woke up as Leah, apparently in a test. A man named Sergi seems like a hacker or programmer. He explains the mechanics to us. Here's the first strange thing. Leah can't speak, literally cannot, due to a glitch. Sergi tells me that the speech modulator is broken. Sergi explains this away. Leah is in a coma in the real world, and CrossWorlds, this massive multiplayer online game, is the only way to communicate with her. The plan is to use gameplay to jog her lost memories and eventually wake her up. Something seems off though. Sergi seems reluctant to tell me everything. Sergi explains we are on the maintenance ship for the MMO CrossCode. He will log me into CrossWorld after I prove I'm ready with a test boss battle. I started feeling like this was a basic game because the first boss battle was basic. The very second I thought that, the whole boss battle stopped. Something was gone wrong. Something approaches the ship. It's a character from CrossWorld. Is he a hacker or an admin? Bypassing game restrictions to get to the ship. The worst part, he looks directly at Leah and recognizes her, not her player account, her. He wants to test if it's who he thinks he is by making me fight another first boss, a real one. Luckily, Captain saves me with his jetpack rocket launcher combo, and we make a heart-racing escape through the ship to CrossWorld. And then because CrossCode knows exactly what it's doing, it slows everything way down. I arrive in Rookie Harbor, the beginning area of CrossWorlds, and almost immediately a girl named Emilie runs up. She's bubbly, she's energetic. She was doing the same tutorial at the same time as me, and she just wants to be friends. And in a game where Leah literally cannot say more than one word at a time, watching her form friendships through gestures and expressions and the rare single syllable is genuinely adorable. This is where the game earns your emotional investment right here, these quiet, low-stakes moments. Then, another high-stake moment when a green-haired player called us out for cheating. We leveled up during the boss battle, but we're over-leveled by 1. Not being able to speak, Emilie steps up and tells him to back off. And the facial gestures of Leah mirror the same facial gestures I have as I'm playing. Humans develop this skill as a baby, mimicking faces and emotions. It creates a subconscious bond with Leah. Her pain feels like my pain. Her laughter is my laughter. Emilie wants to introduce me to her high-level friend who's waiting at Rookie Harbor, so we meet Schneider, and he gives us a proper tour of the beginning town. He promises a chance to join the small guild, the First Scholars, if we can make it to the Bergen Temple in the mountain. And this is where CrossCodes just lets you play the MMO. I'm taking quests, getting rewards and equipment, leveling up, exploring to find rare items, doing all this while Emilie is talking about her in real life problems, complaining about the number of bug type enemies. She will comment on the environment, or Leah if she's performing like particularly well in combat. There are these other ambient MMO players too. Some just run by, others provide a special kind of like dialogue. Since it's a game within a game, CrossCode can reference itself but make it seem like it's the MMO game. An example is this dialogue about the old days having a bottomless bag because there was carrying weight in the early builds of the game. It adds a layer of charm and discovery to the entire game. From top to bottom, there's something to discover in every inch of this game. I finally arrive in Bergen, and Emilie and I race to finish the Ice Temple, gaining the fire ability along the way. With that completed, Emilie and I are allowed to join the First Scholar. I pick up a few more party members. Toby, he's like a biology student who won't stop complaining about none of the plant life in the game makes any scientific sense. Then there's Al. He seems a little more connected than he lets on. And then of course Schneider. And now it's on to the desert to get the ice power. Hearing Emilie boast about laser bridges and Toby complain about the mountains not following natural structures while we're taking quests and getting things done, it feels so natural and enjoyable. And I start getting this feeling I haven't had in a long time. Playing multiplayer games with my friends at 2 in the morning, I was genuinely enjoying it. And that is exactly what you're supposed to think. The game keeps cycling you through this rhythm, a spike of tension and then release into comfort. You clear a beautiful, complex dungeon with your friend. Emilie makes a joke. Toby finds another thing to be mad about. Leah beams at both of them. You breathe out. Then a rival PvP battle with green hair guy or a boss battle shows up and you breathe in. CrossCode does this so deliberately, so patiently. It's building something. Every moment of warm comfort is a contrast it'll spend later. Every laugh you have with Emilie is weight it will drop on. Then comes Chapter 7. First Scholars are finally ready for a major raid, a big coordinated group effort, exactly the kind of endgame content that in real life MMOs are based around. Everybody's hyped. Emilie's waiting for this. The guild is making a big deal because we finally have enough members to actually start a raid. I'm getting kind of excited to see what it is. Something new besides dungeons and quests, and I get to play it with the entire First Scholars. At this point, Emilie and Toby feel more like friends to me than teammates. This is the highest the emotional stakes have felt in a positive way. Everything has been building to this moment of friendship and achievement. 6 players all working together to accomplish something with a big boss battle at the end. The raid starts, and I'm tasked with destroying little jumping blocks. Easy enough. First couple of screens were tricky, but once I learned what was going on, I started to wonder what the boss was going to be. We just need to go through the portal at the end to start the boss fight. But something seems off. Even Sergi comments on something doesn't seem right. The second we step into the teleporter, Sergi tells us to stop, but it's too late. Emilie and Toby appear, but no Leah. The blue avatar ripped me from the raid, took me from my friends. He took me from the highest positive stakes to my lowest negative stakes. They found me. I was having so much fun I kinda forgot this guy existed. Now he wants to give me the true experience, a true challenge. That's why people play games, right? Sergi says he just needs a little time to get me out of here, so I must survive the blue avatar. The fight was getting harder and harder with each phase until finally Sergi opens up a path out. I make a break for the exit, but the blue avatar knows about Sergi now and he stops me in my tracks. Dragged through the game's code to a place called Vermillion Wasteland, a sector that isn't even supposed to exist. It's unfinished, it's broken, feels wrong. Players aren't even meant to see it. The color palette shifts, the music drops out. The enemies here are miserable to fight. Designed almost to be unfun on purpose. They look wrong, they're disturbing. And scattered throughout the wasteland are other players who have been here for a long time, and they have losing their mind. They're trapped. There's no log out button. The system just won't let them leave. The game designer in me wants to call this section genius, and the person who played it at midnight alone wants to call it cruel. It seems I wasn't the only one taken either. A veteran player named Schneider, the guy who gave us the tour, and one of our few real allies, got pulled in with me. And here, in this deliberately dull, deliberately depressing section of the game, something remarkable happens. You see these two characters become genuinely human with each other. Day in, day out, wake up, do a holo quest, go back to sleep because there's nothing else to do. Schneider tries to keep the spirits up, he cracks jokes, he makes plans. And Leah communicates her fear and her sadness, which is subsequently my fear and my sadness, with just her face. Then Schneider tells her something that makes it even worse. He's developing the same amnesia she has. He can't remember anything outside of CrossWorlds. The game just let me get comfortable, and now it's slowly, methodically turning the lights off. And then she shows up. Do you remember that overpowered character? The one they let us play as at the beginning? The face you saw before you saw Leah? Yeah, we remember. Get on with it. Shizuka tears through the Wasteland security, and she is on a warpath. Not just angry, this is a person who's been holding rage inside of her for a very long time, and it's all coming out right now, aimed directly at Leah. And then she says it. She tells Leah that she's not human. She is not in a coma. She was never in a coma. Leah is an Evotar, an artificial intelligence, an AI construct built from the memories of another person. She doesn't just share Shizuka's face. She is made from Shizuka's memories, her personality, her experiences. She is, in the most literal sense, an AI copy of a real woman. Leah didn't lose her memories. She never had real memories to begin with. Every feeling she felt, every friendship she formed, every moment of joy and confusion and wonder in CrossWorld, none of it came from a lived life. It came from data. Shizuka leaves. She doesn't want to hear it. She's been trapped in this virtual world, watching her brother pour his energy into an AI clone of her, and she hates it. And then Sergi, the man who's been guiding Leah the entire time, who told her she was in a coma, who gave her a reason to exist, has to admit that he knew. He always knew. And Leah breaks, and I broke. She cries. She can barely say a single word, remember? So she doesn't say anything. Schneider realizes words aren't enough and did the most human thing possible. Gave Leah a hug. This hug hit me like a train. I don't care how many games you've played, this moment will get you. You got me. Because for 30 plus hours, basically the whole time, I believe she was real too. Playing this game alone in handheld mode, I started to become deeply attached to these characters. They seem like old friends. But at the same time, in-game, we are supposed to be hiding out from the blue avatar. We are different from the other players. Schneider then asks if he was stuck in the game, not knowing that Leah is, would it change anything? Would you stop having fun with your friends? Would you stop trying to make your community better? Would you stop trying to be who you are? He concludes that being stuck in the game is no different from being stuck in real life. A life in this game is worth the same as a life anywhere. You are the one who decides if a life is worth living, not the location the life is in. But here's where CrossCode goes from emotionally devastating to genuinely sinister. A twist in a twist. Sergi starts filling in the gaps. He used to work at a company called Instatainment, a corporation that built CrossWorlds. He worked alongside a team of developers, Gutam, Shizuka, and her brother Satoshi. Together, they accidentally created something extraordinary. Fully functioning, self-learning artificial intelligence. Real AI. Not game enemy AI. Real. And Instatainment looked at genuine living artificial intelligence and said, nope, not marketable, shelve the project. But they kept it alive, hidden, running, and then someone found out about it. A man named Benedict Sidwell, a black market financier, offered to fund the continuation of the Evotar project, not out of curiosity, not out of wonder at what they'd created. His plan? Use CrossWorlds' massive player base to identify high-valued targets. CEOs, executives, people with power. Scan their brain data through the game, build Evotars based on those people, let those Evotars live long enough to get their copied memories back, and then torture those memories out of them, extract secrets, gather blackmail, sell the information, learn their password. Every Evotar in CrossWorlds was created as a tool of exploitation, including Leah. Satoshi, the only person who tried to protect her, hid Leah deep inside the game's code so Sergi could find her. And then Satoshi died. The real one, the human one, was sick. He's gone. That's the shadow that's been hanging over the entire cozy, charming, delightful game from the first second I loaded it up. CrossCode does something very few games bother to do anymore. It earns its emotional punches. It doesn't cheat. It doesn't rush. For hours, it builds you a world that feels alive and friends who feel real. And then it asks you the question at the center of everything. If an AI learns to feel things, friendship, fear, loss, love, does it matter that it started as code? Leah didn't ask to exist. She didn't ask to be a copy. She didn't ask to be weaponized by a corporation that sees consciousness as a commodity. But she is here. She feels things. She's cried in a wasteland that shouldn't exist next to a friend who's slowly forgetting who he is. And when Shizuka looked her in the eyes and said, "You are not real," Leah kept going. That's not nothing. That's everything. And we're not even halfway through the game yet. The second half of CrossCodes takes everything we just talked about and asks a harder question now that Leah knows what she is. Now that she knows why she was. What does she do about it? And I promise you, it gets worse before it gets better. But it does get better. And the way it gets better might be the most quietly beautiful thing I've seen in an indie game in the last decade. If this video hit you the way CrossCodes hit me, do me a favor and hit that like button because it genuinely helps more people find this game. It deserves to be found. This game literally brought gaming back for me. This is what modern gaming has been missing. Drop a comment below telling me the exact moment the game got you because I know there's one and I want to hear it. If you haven't played yet, this video only covers the first half of the game, so go play it. When was the last time you got a hug? A real or virtual? Check on your friends. Maybe they need one. I'm Captain Old School. You're awesome. Good luck. Stay safe. And let's go be great.